Oh. Whoa. Hi, Mr. Beans. Hey, everybody. There we go. Hi, everybody. Chrissy, wake up. I don't like this. Chrissy, wake up. Hey, hello. Time to wake up, time to wake up, time to wake up. Hey, hello. Can somebody give me 10K so I don't have to work for a year? You know, Jack, 10K couldn't get me through 2 months in New York. Verbatim. Verbatim. Thank you for the $10, Momo VT. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. We've got a lot of breaking news. We've got a lot of breaking news, and I've got some videos I want to show you. What updates, brother? I'll show you the updates. Oh, well, first thing I want to show you is this video. This is Trump's Gestapo doing a raid at a Walmart.
Get out of the way. Look at these fuckers, little bitches. Hey, fuck you. Hey, what the fuck? Hey, what the fuck? Hey, why the fuck you guys touching people? Fuck you. Get the fuck out of here.
He fucking touched me, bro. Hey, what the fuck? What is he doing?
I also posted this I want to show you.
Stamattina mi sono alzato, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao.
Maybe you should have kept it on a little bit tighter, Hans. Maybe you should have kept your mask on a little bit tighter, Dieter.
I'm not doing shit, dude. Chill. I'm not doing shit. Hey, what the fuck, dude? You can't be doing that shit. This is my civil right. I can fucking record you if I want. Hey, yo, what the fuck? Look.
Are you and Scotty friends? Yeah, me and Scotty have been friends for a while.
Put it in the car. Put it in the car.
Scotty is a great fitness guy, but he also is one of us. And he didn't know exactly how to get his voice out there, but he felt obligated. So he and I talked, and I was like, listen, man, all you got to do is let the young men who look at you as a masculine figure, let them understand that you don't like Trump. You don't like ICE. You don't like this shit. And he took it upon himself to make it known.
Hey, these are legal citizens, you fucking pieces of shit. Fuck you! Put him in the car! Put him in the car! Hey, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Look! Put him in the car! Hey, I got the shit on the wheel. Don't worry about it. Back up over here, though. Fuck, still, dude. What the fuck? What kind of shit? They're putting hands on him, dude, and you're putting. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Why are you guys putting hands on homie? Look at all these little bitches. Yup, he's fucking a worker, bro. Don't worry, we got this shit. We got this shit.
W. Chris for being reposted by Snow the Product. Huh? Who's that? Who's this? Oh, there I am.
Sorry, this is embarrassing, but I've been single my whole life.
That doesn't mean you haven't been involved with people.
No, I have.
Is Snow the product a woman?
It's starting with the immigrants. It's starting with the undocumented immigrants. It's going to the immigrants that are here legally. That's
Hell yeah. All right, let's see what we got here. Trump's new 2-week negotiating window sets off a scramble to restart the stalled Iran talks. What is this?
Now, regarding the ongoing...
We saw that. Israeli forces ordered to intensify their strikes on Iran as bombardments continue. What the fuck? I don't give a shit about that. Thank you for the $2, Kittensworth. Let's check Trump's truth. Zero border crossings for the month for Trump versus 60,000 for slippy, crooked Joe Biden. A man who lost the 2020 presidential election by a landslide. Oh my God. Dude, Donald Trump is back to fully committing to the 2020 election denial. He's back to fully being on board. Biden was grossly incompetent with the 2020 election, was total fraud. The evidence is massive and overwhelming. A special prosecutor must be appointed. This cannot be allowed to happen again in the United States of America. Let the work begin. What this crooked men's corrupt cronies have done to our country in 4 years is so grossly indescribable. I think this is how Trump gets his third term. You know how, like I told you a while ago, Trump was planting the seeds to invoke the Insurrection Act? Now he's planting the seeds to say that because he won the 2020 election and wasn't given his term, he is owed a third term, and that he is, like, by law, like, due to have an extra 4 years because he won the 2020 election. I genuinely think that's his play right now. Oh, you're gonna love this. Hold on. Look at this. Trump White House considers dropping nukes on Iran. Fox News reports that King Doland may consider using nuclear weapons to eliminate Iran's Fordo nuclear facility. Got the video here.
To senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich, fresh from the White House briefing. Hi, Jackie.
Hey, Martha. There have been a lot of headlines this afternoon, including one from The Guardian that claimed that the U.S. military has doubts about whether the bunker buster bombs could get the job done, and further claiming that only a tactical nuke maybe could finish it. And it further stated that the president is not considering a tactical nuke, that it was not one of the options that was presented to him. I was just told by a top official here that none of that report is true, that none of the options are off the table, and the U.S. military is very confident that bunker busters could get the job done at Fordo.
Did you hear that?
The table, and the U.S. military is to him. I was just told by a top official here that none of that report is true, that none of the options are off the table.
Donald Trump is thinking about nuking Iran right now. He's genuinely considering, he's weighing his options, and one of his options is to nuke Iran. Why are we believing Fox? Because who the fuck do you think gets to talk to the White House? The Washington Post? The Associated Press? Reuters? No. The people who get to talk to the White House are the blonde whores that work at Fox News. The ones with really good lip gloss on their cock holsters and are willing to blow fucking Rupert Murdoch in order for $6 million a year to lie on TV. That's why. Jesus Christ, there's so many fucking helos.
Would finish it, and further bombs could get the job done, and further claiming that only a tactical nuke maybe could finish it. And it further stated that the president is not considering a tactical nuke, that it was not one of the options that was presented to him. I was just told by a top official here that none of that report is true, that none of the options are off the table, and the U.S. military is very confident that bunker busters...
This is just saber rattling, no? With nuclear weapons? Brother, let me genuinely ask you something. Do you feel like you deserve to live in a world where nuclear holocaust is being used as a negotiation tactic in a game of poker? You understand that you are the bluff. Like, bro, nukes mean your life. Your life is the bluff right now, dog. Your life. I think I've got to cover that. I think I have to cover this. Are nukes world ending? Yes.
I now want to bring in ABC News contributor, retired General Robert Abrams. He's the former commander of U.S. forces in Korea. Thank you for being here with us. And first of all, what could potentially U.S. involvement really look like in this conflict? You just saw Louis lay out some options there, right? Do we send ground troops? Are they in the air as well? But remaining in...
Trump and his regime are considering dropping a nuke on Iran because our bunker busters aren't strong enough to hit the Fordo facility.
Some sort of defensive posture. How are you analyzing this?
Well, I think you have to take it from a broader picture of what we already had in the region.
Didn't she just say, top officials say none of that report is true? You have to listen to what she said. None of that report is true in reference to them saying we're not going to use a nuke. Listen to what she's saying, dog.
To senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich, fresh from the White House.
Like one nuke or nuclear war. There's no such thing as dropping one nuke.
To senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich, fresh from the White House briefing. Hi, Jackie.
Hey, Martha. There have been a lot of headlines this afternoon, including one from The Guardian that claimed that the U.S. military has doubts about whether the bunker buster bombs could get the job done, and further claiming that only a tactical nuke maybe could finish it. And it further stated that the president is not considering a tactical nuke, that it was not one of...
further stated that the president is not considering using a tactical nuke. Now keep listening.
The options that was presented to him. I was just told by a top official here that none of that report is true, that none of the options are off the table.
That none of the options are off the table, including using a tactical nuke.
And the U.S. military is very confident that bunker busters could get the job done at Fordo. The president is giving...
what's transpired over the last, say, 7 days. Significantly, we've got somewhere between 30 and 40,000 troops.
No such thing as dropping one nuke? Yes. Yes. There's no such thing as dropping one nuke. Never in human history has there been one nuclear weapon deployed in combat. There's only ever been a nuclear weapon deployed in combat by the United States, and we did 2. And we even considered doing 3. And that was back when we were the only people on planet Earth to have nuclear weapons. That's it.
Already in the region, and we've been surging all sorts of aircraft, fighters, bombers, as well as critical air refueling assets to be able to sustain air operations.
Thanks for $2,
I think on the scale of what's most likely, if we were to make some sort of contribution, would be something from air, either as Louis described with B-2.
All right, let me make this video. Hey guys, Donald Trump is considering nuking Iran. I'm not kidding. I wish I was. Call me a fearmonger, but I'm not the one who fucking said it. We've got new reporting from the New Republic and Fox News that the Trump White House is considering dropping nukes on Iran. Fox News reports that Donald Trump may consider using nuclear weapons to eliminate Iran's Fordo nuclear facility. So let me, hold on. Iran Fordo nuclear facility. Let me see if I can get a picture of this facility up for you. So, the Iranian facility, let me see if I can pull up this picture here. Yeah. Here's the Iranian Fordo facility, okay? It's everything inside of this. It is a giant security perimeter, support buildings, centrifuges, tunnel entrances. And deep underneath this mountain, 300 feet underneath this mountain, that is where the Fordo facility is. Now, it's important to know that it is 300 feet beneath the ground. Why is that important to know? Our 30,000-pound bunker busters that we drop from B-2s, they can only penetrate 200 feet in the ground. Because the Iranians love to do a little bit of trolling. And it seems like our B-2 bombers would be incapable of getting the job done. This is why the Trump White House is weighing other options. One of them being a full boots-on-the-ground invasion of Iran. So get ready for that draft. And then the second one being deploying a quote-unquote tactical nuke, which doesn't exist, and we will go over that, to blow up the facility instead. Now, real quick, just so you can understand, a tactical nuclear weapon is about 50 kilotons of TNT, or the equivalent of 50 kilotons of TNT. The bomb we dropped on Hiroshima was 15. Okay? And we didn't call that a tactical nuke. No, we called that Fat Boy. Okay? So the bomb that we dropped on Hiroshima was 15 kilotons. And a tactical nuke is 50. There is no such thing as a tactical nuke. And take it from me. As a delegate for the United Nations Denuclearization Proliferation Treaty, I was at the United Nations fucking talking with different representatives of different nations about nuclear weapons, and there was one thing that everybody could come to agreement on, which is that tactical nuke is a misnomer, okay? There is no such thing as tactical deployment of a nuclear weapon. You cannot control which direction the wind is going to blow the fallout. You cannot control who will burn from this. There's no such fucking thing. And please, please, guys, never, ever let anybody convince you that a tactical nuke is a de-escalatory action. If you drop a nuclear weapon on any nation, anywhere on planet Earth, that is escalation. That is not the end of a conflict. That is the creation of a new era of humanity, where it is acceptable to drop nuclear weapons on people. Oh, God, Oppenheimer, why did you fucking split that goddamn atom? Anyway, let's watch. Enough of me. Before we do, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I am your perfect and humble leader, Chris Valenti, and I majored in history. I minored in political science. Liking, commenting, and subscribing costs you nothing, so do that. It helps me, okay? And if you do want to help me financially, you can hit that thanks button to tip. You can join to become a member for $5. You can become a patron for $5. You could buy merch. There's a lot of stuff you could do. And I really appreciate every single one of you who has subbed. We recently hit 70,000 subs, and that's really massive. I love you all. So, Trump White House considers dropping nukes on Iran. Fox News reports that King Doland may consider using nuclear weapons to eliminate Iran's Fordo nuclear facility. The Trump regime is reportedly considering nuking Iran. The Guardian on Wednesday claimed that the U.S. military had reservations regarding the success of using a bunker buster bomb, a non-nuclear weapon, to eliminate Iran's Fordo nuclear facility buried deep in a mountain. Two defense officials were reportedly briefed that only a tactical nuclear weapon could reach the facility. But the Guardian noted that Trump is not considering using a tactical nuke. Well, on Thursday, Fox News senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich reported that the White House told her otherwise. Let's watch.
To senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich, fresh from the White House briefing. Hi, Jackie.
Hey, Martha. There have been a lot of headlines this afternoon, including one from The Guardian that claimed that the U.S. military has doubts about whether the bunker buster bombs could get the job done, and further claiming that only a tactical nuke maybe could finish it. And it further stated that the president is not considering a tactical nuke, that it was not one of the options that was presented to him. I was just told by a top official here that none of that report
Listen again.
Maybe could finish it. And it further stated that the president is not considering a tactical nuke, that it was not one of the options that was presented to him. I was just told by a top official here that none of that report is true, that none of the options are off the table.
None of the options are off the table. And just so you know, Fox News has already, this is called manufacturing consent. Go read Noam Chomsky's book, Manufacturing Consent. Fox News is a terrorist organization, okay? And what they're doing is saying to their brainworm-riddled viewers that there are only three options. Option one, we drop bunker busters. Option two, we drop a tactical nuke. Option three, full boots on the ground invasion of Iran. If you're only giving three fucking options, then of course everyone's going to say, okay, drop the bunker busters. That is how you manufacture consent. Because even I would go, well, you shouldn't drop a nuke and we definitely shouldn't send in our boys, so I guess you got to bomb them. How about you tell Benjamin Netanyahu and the rest of his fucking cabinet to go fuck themselves with a crazy straw. Good luck dealing with Iran. Hopefully the rapture happens. Like, verbatim, suck my fat fucking cock, Bibi Netanyahu, you genocidal, war criminal, maniac!
And the U.S. military is very confident.
I'll play this again.
Stated that the president, only a tactical nuke maybe could finish it, and it further stated that the president is not considering a tactical nuke, that it was not one of the options that was presented to him. I was just told by a top official.
Chatter just said in World War II, we dropped 2 nukes that ended war, did it not? Ending war is de-escalation. The nukes that we dropped on Japan had nothing to do with ending the war. The Japanese were already surrendering to the Russians. They had written up their surrender terms. They had already said since the beginning of the war that if the Soviets ever invade the island of Japan, that they will have to surrender. We refused to allow them to surrender to the Soviets. Reason being, the Soviets were our new enemy. They were creating nuclear weapons. So not only did we drop 1 nuke on Japan to get them to surrender to us, but they still didn't. We dropped a second one so the Soviets would see, hey, not only do we have these weapons, not only do we have multiple of these weapons, but look just how willing we are to drop those bombs on civilian populations. And if you are capable of arguing to me that dropping the nukes on Japan de-escalated global conflict, I will Venmo you $50 billion, brother, because it quite literally ushered in the age of nukes. It ushered in the Cold War, the space race, the arms race. The whole reason we live under the threat of permanent nuclear annihilation is because of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Here that none of that report is true. That
We all
none of
learned
the
in schools that
options
World War II was the end, that the end of World War II was the bombs. Yes, and they are wrong. They are wrong. Take it from somebody who is a delegate for the United Nations Denuclearization Proliferation Treaty and has literally spoken to survivors of Hiroshima. I've spoken to representatives of Japan. It had nothing to do with ending the war. The Japanese were already going to surrender.
are off the table, and the U.S. military is very confident that bunker busters could get the job done at Fordo. The president is giving...
Unfucking believable. Unfucking believable. Meanwhile, we got Vladimir Putin coming out to save the day. Vladimir fucking Putin saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't be helping Israel. You can't make this shit up.
I now want to bring in ABC News contributor, retired General Robert Abrams. He is the former commander of U.S. forces in Korea. Thank you for being here with us. And first of all, what could potentially U.S. involvement really look like in this conflict? You just saw Louis lay out some options there, right? Do we send ground troops? Are they in the air as well, but remaining in some sort of defensive posture? How are you analyzing this?
Well, I think you have to take it from a broader picture of what we already had in the region and then what's transpired over the last, say, 7 days. Significantly, we've got somewhere between 30 and 40,000 troops already in the region, and we've been surging all sorts of aircraft, fighters, bombers, as well as critical air refueling assets to be able to sustain air operations. I think on the scale of what's most likely, if we were to
these fucking dogs have a war boner, and none of them are even gonna go to fight. They have such a fucking boner for the tech, and they're like, oh, we should go to war. Meanwhile, I would love to see you on the front fucking lines, you piece of shit.
Some sort of contribution would be something from air, either as Louis described with B-2 or B-52s coming out of Diego Garcia, or maybe some fighter aircraft escorting Israelis as they continue their operations. But all of that, again, we ought to be really clear about this. All of this is speculative. The Department of Defense gets paid to create options for the president. And I'm confident that they've laid out a full array of different options. And we're just going to have to wait and see.
I'm waiting on pins and needles for that, especially as we know Russia now warning the U.S. against providing any direct military aid to Israel. How significant is that warning, especially coming from Russia in this moment?
Yeah, well, I think the threat from Russia is possible. I think there's a much bigger threat if we were to get involved to Iranian forces directly attacking U.S. forces in the region, or worse.
Well, that's something we've already got, which is Iranian proxies are threatening to attack U.S. bases. Iranian militia threatens to attack U.S. base. Oh, that's the Iraqi militia? Jesus Christ. Iran-backed Shia militia Kataib Hezbollah has threatened to strike U.S. military bases across West Asia if the U.S. joins the ongoing conflict. So, again, we're heading into another forever war because Donald Trump is a fat, fascist, orange piece of shit, and every single person who still supports him is inferior to me. I don't say that facetiously. If you support Donald Trump in this moment, you are inferior. You are inferior. You're an oxygen thief. Fuck.
Iranian proxy forces striking U.S. forces. Again, we've got, somewhere between, troops arrayed across 8 to, 15 bases throughout the region. Baghdad, Kuwait, Al-Assad Air Base in western Iraq, the UAE, Bahrain. This is why we've ordered the partial evacuation of the embassy in Baghdad and provided resources for withdrawal of U.S. dependence out of Bahrain. They're all within range of Iranian ballistic missiles, and they're all within range of Iranian proxy forces who have been attacking U.S. forces for, probably since 1979, but certainly in our most recent experience since 2003. So we're all well versed in the Iranian playbook in attacking U.S. forces using proxy forces, and that I think is a huge risk to our forces in the region.
That is deeply, deeply concerning, especially because there's been a thought that these proxy groups were perhaps depleted in this moment. But if that is a plan, right, that is deeply concerning. General Robert Abrams, it's always good to
yeah, that's not happening.
That's good to know. Listen, I hope we can continue to discuss this. Thank you so much for coming on here with us.
When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours. All right, let's see. If there's any breaking news, other than that, I'll call this video here. I'll keep the live going, though. Let's check Trump's truth. Zero border crossings. Fuck your border. Fuck your border. Suck my dick. Bro, you are melting. Your fucking bronzer is leaking off your face, bro. It looks like a clementine shot a load on your fucking mouth. Like, I can't get over it. I can't get over this. Chris, I've heard that the attack will come this weekend. We already started. The attack began. We already started, bro. Ted Cruz confirmed this in his interview with Tucker Carlson. We already started bombing. We already started bombing. Trump just refuses to publicize this information, bro. Oh, all right, listen, if you're watching this pre-recorded, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it helps me immensely. If you want to support the channel financially, buy some merch, use that thanks button, become a member, become a patron, do everything you got to do. And massive shout out to everybody who has given me money. You guys are the only reason why this show can continue to keep on going. Do me one last favor. Click that video right there, you piece of shit. All right, so let's get a thumbie going of Trump threatening to nuke Iran. Nuclear bombs. Legalize nuclear bombs. Legalize nuclear bombs. Legalize nuclear bombs. Legalize nuclear bombs. Just got into the live. Donald Trump is considering nuking Iran right now. That is confirmed. Oh! He says, oh! He said, oh! Was the Ayatollah in the bunker bomb yesterday? No, that was not confirmed. We don't know if the Ayatollah is alive. There is no news as per whether this guy, Ayatollah Khamenei, is still alive after Israel bombed the ever-living fuck out of his bunker. And then we're going to need Donnie on there. We're going to need Big Daddy Donnie. Have you thought to drop a 500? What does that even mean? All right, and then we're gonna need me looking absolutely fucking horrified. How about this one? And then we'll flip it, and then we'll wallahi, brother, wallahi, a little background removal. Inshallah, my brothers, inshallah. Ifti khilwa, assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. All right, there. Yeah, did you guys see I got endorsed by Zohran Mamdani as Streamer of the Year? That is awesome. It's also a complete fucking lie. I just made that up. No, not really. I'm lying. No, I just made that up on the spot. Is that okay? Is it okay that I made that up? Are we cool? All right, I think that's gas, yeah? Wallahi, that is fucking gas. So when is Europe and other countries going to let me seek refuge? Never, bro. Dude, I can't fucking wait till American refugees start getting turned away at other nations. And they're like, sorry, we don't like immigrants. I can't wait until we start to feel a little bit of fucking karma for the way that we've treated the foreign world. All right, let's get that fucker uploaded. Didn't the bombing in Thread start with a war in Iran? Yup. Yes, it did. Indeedly, indoodly, it diddly. You are correct. What's happening? Trump is currently considering dropping a nuke on Iran. Guys, I need you to take this moment. I know that, like, it's scary, but I need you to take this moment as a changing moment for you. You need to understand from here on out that anybody who still supports Donald Trump is inferior to you in every possible way. You need to stop treating them as your equal. They are not your equal. You need to bully the people in your life who are supporters of Donald Trump. And I'll tell you firsthand, I permanently cut off my bastard half-brother. I blocked him on everything. I will never speak to him again. Never. That is how fucking dedicated I am to this shit. Anyway. And that was only after I told him. I said to him, it is astounding that our father was capable of creating something as stupid as you. That was the last thing I said to him. Emergency breaking. Trump is considering nuking Iran. 25th Amendment time. Wake up. Congress has fallen. No, not Malenti. Malenti's my real brother. I'm talking about my bastard half-brother. It is time to remove this man from office. Thank you for becoming a loyalist, Gareth. Appreciate you. I don't support Trump at all, but how well do you believe Biden would have handled this situation? I don't believe this situation would have happened under Biden, and even so, who gives a fuck? Biden wasn't running for president at the end. Kamala Harris was running for president. And if you want to ask that same question about Kamala Harris, here's my answer. Who gives a fuck? I don't give a shit about this hypothetical alternate reality. I give a fuck about the one that I live in. Yeah, I saw Trump. Dude, Trump wanting to be like North Korea should not surprise you, bro. Should not surprise you. This shit would have never happened if Kamala Harris was president. 100%. All right, video's published.
Moment we can join our correspondent Vernon Smith, who's talking to us from Amman and is reporting on Israel from there because Israel.
And I do want to continue our coverage here as the Israel Defense Forces did release this video here.
You're a child if you don't talk to family over politics. No, I will cut off all fascists. I don't give a fuck if they're blood. If you are a fascist, you are inferior, and I will not talk with you. I will not converse with you. I will not be associated with you. You could be my own fucking father and I will cut you off. Sorry, I have convictions and I hold them firmly. And one of them is I do not talk with fascists.
Time ago, it's actually a still image that does say that fighter jets struck several Iranian missile systems and radar installations in the areas of Tehran and over in Isfahan. Those, Israel say, were intended to target IDF aircraft and disrupt operations there. The IDF adding overnight in Iran, more than 60 fighter jets struck dozens of military targets using about 120 munitions. They also
Did that see what your brother became? No.
It's several industrial sites used to manufacture missiles in the Tehran.
My dad pretended he didn't exist until my dad died.
Area, and those served as a key industrial center for the Iranian Ministry of Defense. The IDF saying that it struck a headquarters.
Valenti, who can stand against our military? I was in the Navy in Kuwait in the 1990s. My youngest brother was in Iraq. America still is the most lethal military on the planet. China could beat us in a war easily. If you think that we could beat China in a war, you are coping. They have so many more soldiers. They have the same exact equipment, if not better. They have far more discipline. They have far more control over their population. They would beat the fuck out of us in a war.
Of advanced technologies and weapons supporting the Iranian regime's military capabilities. 4 UAVs fired by Iran were also intercepted by Israel. The IDF actually posting a video on X, speaking briefly with an Israeli fighter pilot, helping to essentially break down the situation there on the ground.
We do know that Iranian fighter jets have taken off from certain runways, but from what we saw, they flew away from us and not towards us. Probably the right thing to do.
You think China could invade the mainland? They don't have to. China is a sleeping dragon. We will destroy ourselves, and they will just take over the husk of the nation that was once known as the United States.
We have an existential threat on Israel right now, and we have to get rid of the 3 major threats that are threatening the peace and our civilians. 1 is the nuclear threat, 2, the ballistic threat, and 3, all of the...
Go to China, brother, since you're riding them so hard. See, that's the difference between you and I. You are an ideological coward. You were probably raised by cowards. You have a problem, and your immediate thought is, I should run away. No, when there's a problem in my house, I fix the problem. I don't move to a new house. It is not my fault that you were raised by weak people.
Iranian proxies in the area. What we have done in the first 24 hours is create that environment so that whichever surface-to-air threat we would face, we'd be able to make sure that our side wins. What's great about the Israeli Air Force is its flexibility. Targets are going in and out as necessary. If there are targets that we are aware of civilians in the area, we're not going to target. Sometimes when you're flying back from a mission, you see the Iranian ballistic missiles traveling already through the atmosphere from the east to the west. One of the flights that I flew, the missiles landed in a very...
You're dumb as fuck brainwashing these people. Hey, James, what do you think about nuking Iran? Because Donald Trump is currently considering nuking Iran. What are your thoughts on that? What are your great, giant intellectual mind? Tell me, what are your thoughts on that?
Heavily populated civilian city, and I saw it from the sky, and I understood this is exactly what we're trying to protect. And at the end of the day, the Israeli Air Force knows exactly
America
what we're targeting.
won all of them? Incorrect, pilot. The United States of America has not won a war since the Second World War. We also barely participated in World War II. We also barely participated in World War I. So the United States has not genuinely won a war single-handedly ever in our history. We are entirely reliant on our alliances. Donald Trump has weakened every single alliance that we have in a mere, 180 days as president. But yeah, we would lose a war with any first world nation today.
How we're targeting it, and all of our targets are Iranian regime military targets. And on the other hand, the Iranians, they really don't care if it's hitting populated cities, if it's killing and murdering civilians.
Dude, Fox News should be illegal. This is terrorist propaganda, bro. This is straight up terrorist propaganda. If you're capable of watching this and go, yeah, this is really good news, you're actually fucking mentally disabled. Genuinely. Yeah, we didn't even win the Revolutionary War by ourselves. We cannot win wars alone. The American military is fucking pathetic, dude. Without air superiority, our boys are pathetic on the front lines. They can't do anything. As soon as we get into combat, as soon as a shot is fired, we call in a fucking airstrike against some fucking sandal-wearing guys in pajamas holding AK-47s. We suck at boots-on-the-ground combat. We're dog shit. Take away air superiority and we'll be sat there with our fucking dicks in our hands.
If you're... Are you concerned about Trump's handling of Iran at all? The possibility of...
Look, I've tracked Iran for years. You can let Tucker Carlson know. I know there are 92 million people in the country. Look, they are oppressed people. Iran has for years have spent billions of dollars funding...
Brother, we are an oppressed people. We are an oppressed people. Oppressed by fucking suits like you.
Hamas, Hezbollah, and terrorist cells all around the world. It is time for regime change. And
Lindsay, I love your content. I'm slightly becoming a Valenti junkie in off time. I disagree with our capabilities. You are entitled to disagree with me. But if you could name one war that the United States has won since World War II, I will Venmo you $1,000.
Be given a fair amount of leeway to affect that.
Should that be the U.S. posture, regime change here?
I believe my position has been since I've been in the U.S. Senate that the only thing that's going to fix Iran is regime change. The mullahs are murderers. They're liars. They chant death to America, and at the same time they chant death to Israel. This is not somebody we'll ever have a lasting peace with. I also think it's a little bit rich that we'd let a murderer...
We lost the Korean War.
From Russia, Vladimir Putin, negotiate peace talks. My guess is he wants to do that because he wants all those drones that they're trying to use.
But we lost the Korean War.
Now to go back into Ukraine. And I'm behind the president 100%.
And then the bill, is this a bill you can support right now? Is this a bill you can support right now?
Which bill?
The reconciliation
bill. We
got
work to do, but it's tracking in the right direction.
What's your biggest concern?
We've just got to settle.
What wars have we won? We have not won a war since World War II, and in World War II, we barely participated. Chris, can you explain how we lost the Korean War? The entire point of the Korean War was to push the communist threat out of North Korea, and guess what North Korea still fucking is? The goddamn communists! The North Koreans still have full control. We lost that war, bro. Even if you don't think that we lost it, we sure as shit didn't win. Who won the Korean War? It was a goddamn stalemate. Look. Not interested. The Korean War ended in a stalemate, with neither side achieving a decisive victory. If we sent in thousands of soldiers and thousands of our soldiers died and we didn't complete the mission, that's a loss. That's losing the war.
The Human Rights Council is
Panama invasion, that was not a fucking war, that was an invasion.
to the foreign minister of the
That was a terrorist takeover. That was regime change. That was imperialism.
The Iranian regime that jails women for their hair, that hangs LGBTQ plus individuals, and that kills protesters demanding freedom. Instead of rolling out the red carpet for an Iranian henchman, the HRC, the Human Rights Council, should begin with a moment of silence for
We won the Gulf
Iran's
War?
victims.
No, we didn't. We did not win the Gulf War. The United States and its coalition partners won the Gulf War. They successfully liberated Kuwait from Iraqi occupation and receiving their primary objective. While the war was a decisive victory for the coalition, Iraq was not occupied and Saddam Hussein remained in power. The entire fucking point was to get rid of Saddam Hussein, and we didn't. I understand that they're going to cope and say, oh, we won the Gulf War. Meanwhile, we didn't complete the fucking objective. If you do not complete your objective, you did not win.
This is another sign of the hypocrisy and moral decay of the Human Rights Council that has completely lost its sense of purpose and constitutes a blatant betrayal of the victims of this radical regime. The Iranian regime remains one of the most reprehensible, systematic violators of human rights, and its representative has no intention to address the Council on matters pertaining to human rights. For decades, Iran has been spreading...
Dude, the Israelis are fucking terrorists.
All new overnight, President Donald Trump will remain in control of the California National Guard. A federal appeals court overturned a lower court's ruling. They say his use of the Guard during the Los Angeles immigration protests was within his authority. The court did disagree with the Trump administration on the claim that courts shouldn't even be allowed to review the president's...
Was the Mexican-American War one of the only wars we won by ourselves? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. We lost Vietnam. Who fought alongside us in the Mexican-American War? Yeah, no, we pretty much fought alone. We practically fought alone. We were probably funded by France. France always funds us. No, they didn't.
Decision. The Trump administration will continue.
As the Democratic Party stumbles through its
Thanks,
resistance
Star.
to President Trump's agenda, there is one resounding voice that has been largely quiet. That's former President Barack Obama. But that changed momentarily this week when he sat down for a wide-ranging conversation where he offered this warning.
Hey guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It costs you absolutely nothing and it helps me immensely. Also, remember, this is what real independent media looks like. It just looks like some douchebag in the corner of his apartment. So if you want to support the channel financially, because I've never had a conversation with an advertiser or a billionaire or a government, please feel free to donate to the channel. You could become a member, you can become a patron, you could buy merch, you could use the discount code in the description. There's a bunch of different things you could do.
Democracy is not self-executing. It requires people, judges, and...
Nobody wants Obama's opinion? I do.
People in the Justice Department and...
Shout out Discord. Shout out Discord. Join the Discord.
People throughout the government who take an oath to uphold the Constitution. It requires them to take...
Wait, real quick, James, because you never answered. James, what is your opinion on nuking Iran? What is your opinion on nuking Iran? I need to know, James.
That oath, seriously. And when that...
I did answer. I missed it. Answer again.
We start drifting into something that is not consistent with American democracy.
If you had the choice to join any world military, who would you choose? Well, I don't want to die, so I guess I'd choose the IDF, because then I would only have to fight against children, so my chances of survival would be much higher.
If autocracies.
Unarmed children, mind you.
Panel's bag. A lot of Democrats want to hear more of that.
The question I get asked more than anything else is, where are the former presidents and when are they going to speak out? Why aren't they speaking out more? I would say President Obama has actually spoken out more than any of the others. I think what you hear from them is, they want to pick their moments. They don't want to dilute the message.
What's your opinion on Obama? I mean, I think he was a better president than most of the presidents. He's probably the best president of my lifetime. Granted, I've only been alive for 27 years. But he was still a war criminal, just like every other U.S. president throughout history. He was a fucking war criminal. I mean, Obama went to more weddings than anybody I know. We're talking about the cluster king over there. Are you fucking out of your mind?
But
Chat, Chris and Valen, I'm missing something. I thought the bunker buster was non-nuclear. Yes, and now they are saying the bunker buster cannot get the job done, so they are considering using a tactical nuke instead.
As I think we know with history, you never know when that tipping point is going
James, just answer again. I can't see your answer. Just answer again. What do you think about nuking Iran? Just answer again.
That it makes a difference.
And the argument from the other people who want to hear it more say that this is a time where you should be speaking out because of everything that's happening out there.
Yeah, they say, of course, that they believe that Donald Trump is a unique threat. Quite frankly, the Democratic Party is uniquely in disarray in a way that it's a moment for the Democratic Party that they say needs leadership that just isn't existing in the party. There's a lot of infighting. But I think we do have to just take a step back and think, during the Biden administration, were Republicans saying, we must hear from George W. Bush right now. And they weren't. They let him be, And so it is just kind of unprecedented to see Democrats clamoring for Obama, but I think it's more of an indication that the party doesn't really feel like it has any other leaders.
Yeah, and the former Attorney General Eric Holder told The Atlantic's Mark Leibovich, the thing you don't want to do is you don't want to regularize him, referring to Obama.
I think referring to Trump, actually, to normalize the
I guess he's referring to Trump. I read it as Obama.
I think
he's talking about Obama. But
the whole idea here, I think, is...
Who'd you want to be president? Me.
And President Obama subscribes to this. President Bush does. There's one president at a time.
In the port city of Haifa, missile strikes there that have made impact. I do believe that our Nick Robertson, who has been in Haifa, has reached the scene. Nick, what are you seeing?
Yeah, signs of destruction here. It's not clear yet how much damage to buildings there is. We do know from the local hospital that 5 casualties have been taken there, 2 of them in serious condition. The location we're at, without being specific, because Israel doesn't want to give away operational information, is a central location in this city. And what I can see behind me here are all sorts of emergency crews. I've seen the paramedics in here. I've seen the ambulances racing away from the scene as we've walked in here. I've seen the police controlling the streets around here. The military are on the scene here as well as the fire service. And it's their hoses that I've been able to see spraying water underneath the bridge behind me in there. It's not clear what they're dousing, what flames may have erupted. But just half an hour ago, barely that, the sirens had gone off here in this town.
Yeah,
we were out on
you
the
could be in my
street. We
sec,
just
Jeff.
followed people to the nearest shelter. It was beneath a shopping mall. And while we were in there, it's very hard to tell what's happening, but there were some dull thuds. Then we got the all clear, and as soon as we came out, like everyone else, you start to understand what has happened around you. And at least one missile, one Iranian missile, we're told, has impacted here. The details at the moment are fragmentary. We can expect the casualty numbers to potentially change. We can expect the details about what we know about the impact here
Cup of
to
coffee,
change.
Cat.
But at first glance, just coming down here, there are a lot of emergency services on site. And John, I got to tell you, just earlier on this morning,
Chris, didn't Trump bash other presidents for war in the Middle East? Why do you think he switched up? Because now he's the president. You're not allowed to be the president of the United States and against war in the Middle East. That's the sandbox. That's where we test our favorite new weapons. It's because now he's the president.
It was in the hub of where this city deals with this type of emergency, the hub where all the key players, the police, the fire service, all of them sit around a table with the mayor in what they call a war room. Information is feeding into them. They filter that information so that only information they get at that war room desk is key, cleared, critical information for them to make decisions about what to do. So I know right now that
Give a $10 donation, Vivid. You're going to need a bigger vape fund. Check out flights toward PSAB in Saudi Arabia. See if they're sending troops there. Should tell you if we're putting boots on the ground. Source, deployment 22 and 23. Check out flights toward PSAB in Saudi Arabia. Let's see. No, that ain't gonna be it. I guess flight tracker. How the fuck how would I even do this, bro? Prince Sultan Air Force Base near their capital. All right, so I gotta go to fucking Saudi Arabia. Prince Sultan Air Force Base. I don't even know how to find that shit, bro. Influx of civilian fights at the capital should tell you. There's no live Iran air flights. Bro, there's nothing flying in Iran. Isn't this fucking horrifying? This is horrifying. Oh.
Is working at full speed with all their officials in there, feeding in information about this, deploying teams to the ground. There'll be rescue teams involved here as well. We may not have seen them yet, but they will be the ones dispatched to go in and check the buildings, check for people that are trapped, check for other people that are injured. It's a very, very coordinated effort, and what we're seeing here on the ground right now is precisely that effort playing out, and that is the resilience that city officials talk to us about in this city.
Nick, just earlier you and I were speaking, and it had been a quieter few hours, at least, in Haifa. That obviously ended quickly with the impact of this strike. But Haifa has been hit very hard over the last week during these during this back and forth here. The people in that city, what is it been like for them?
You know, one of the other places I was in this morning, and I might have mentioned that to you, John, was a church that they'd opened the car park underneath the church for anyone of any religion to come in there, get shelter at times when the siren goes off. And, you know, there were mattresses in there, there were people clearly had sort of set up their home away from home down there. And the priest told me at nighttime, a lot of families come in.
What the fuck do you think I'm gonna do? Hey, how you doing? A chatter in my YouTube stream. He's got, I think he might have fallen off a ladder. What's his name? No idea. Where does he live? Not a clue. What does he look like? No fucking idea. Am I sure he fell? No. Like,
live in there, and they do that because they are worried about these nighttime strikes. So again, this strike coming during the day is somewhat out of the normal. When we were on the street before the sirens, or as the sirens went off, I literally saw a father, a mother with 2 young children, tugging them by the hand, running up the street, following other people to try to get to this place of shelter, this car park underground car park that we all ended up in. It eats into people's psyche, if you will. It stresses.
The President of the United States is considering dropping a nuclear weapon on Iran.
And one lady I was talking to in that bomb shelter just now told me it was the first time she had gone into the shelter. So Haifa has been targeted from the early days of this conflict. 3 people were killed not far from here in the very, very beginning of the conflict. So this city is very aware that it's in the crosshairs of Iranian missiles. Last night was a bit of a respite. But I got to tell you, following on from our conversation earlier, John, about how it was quiet, it just shows me how everything here turns on a dime. Things change very quickly. The response is fast, but all of that eats into people's...
But he won't do it, he's all talk? Was he all talk about the largest mass deportation campaign in American history? Was he all talk about running for a 3rd term? Was he all talk about getting rid of due process? Was he all talk about violating the Constitution regularly? Was he all talk about the trans bans? Was he all talk about the Muslim bans? What are we fucking doing right now, bro? What are we doing?
It amplifies their stress levels, and as you can imagine, that's not good for anyone.
He won't do it. He knows he'll lose all his military bases in the Middle East. It's risky. I don't think he knows that, dude. We're talking about Donald Trump. You think Donald Trump has even the slightest understanding of, like, world politics and the consequences of war? No.
A lot of anxiety there, to be sure. Nick Robertson at the scene of a missile strike in Haifa just a short time ago.
No sign of de-escalation as Iran fires a fresh barrage of missiles towards Israel just moments ago with the strike
What's going on?
reported
Trump is considering nuking Iran.
in Haifa. CNN is on the ground in both Israel and Iran.
Let's go first to CNN international diplomatic editor Nick Robertson. He's in Haifa, Israel, along the Mediterranean, Israel's third largest city. What can you tell us about this latest attack, Nick?
Yeah, Wolf, as far as we know so far, missile hitting the building behind me in central Haifa. It has caused, as far as we know, according to medical officials here, 2 serious casualties, 2 moderate casualties.
How many nukes have ever been dropped in war? Only 2 have ever been dropped in war, both of which were dropped by the United States, and now a third one may get dropped again by the United States.
And 18 other people with minor injuries. Several of those have already been taken to the main hospital here, which is, by the way, working underground. This missile came in here just a little over an hour ago. What you're seeing behind me here, Wolf, is a situation of destruction. And actually, Wolf, I'm being joined by the mayor of this city. You've been mayor here for almost 20 years. Tell me what has just happened. What are you seeing? What are you learning?
The Iranians have decided to make Haifa a target, and as I see that.
By the way, guys, the Israeli military has decided to put their missiles and their THAAD batteries in civilian areas like Haifa and Tel Aviv. The Israelis are hiding their soldiers underneath hospitals. The Israelis are literally doing everything they accused Hamas of doing. They are using human shields. The reason why these missiles are hitting apartment complexes in civilian areas is because Israel is using human shields. The same way that they fucking accused Hamas of doing it for the past 2 years.
They succeed. They succeed to choose very important targets. This is the center of the downtown. I revived the downtown and turned it to be a commercial site.
And how many casualties here?
11 casualties that were moved to the hospital, to Rambam. And thanks God, nobody got killed.
Whereas the admin stated they're considering using a nuke on Iran. Right here.
To senior White House correspondent.
Buster bombs could get the job done, and further claiming that only a tactical nuke maybe could finish it. And it further stated that the president is not considering a tactical nuke, that it was not one of the options that was presented to him. I was just told by a top official here that none of that report is true, that none of the options are off the table, and the U.S. military is very confident.
None of the options are off the table.
And you're normally in the war room. You're normally sitting at the head of the table, working on getting all the different teams in here. Tell me what we're looking at, because I see police, I see medics, I see rescue recovery. Explain to me what we're looking at here right now.
You see everybody who has to do his job in the area he is in charge of. And thanks God,
USA drops a nuke with World War III be official. World War III already began. You are in, what is it, day 9 of World War III? Yeah. Nukes would just turn this world war into a global thermonuclear war. World War III is already raging. You're about a little bit over a week into it.
Immediately turning down and coming here. And this is Israel.
And the priority is get the search teams in. I've seen the search and rescue dogs, the drones.
They go place to place to see if somebody is not there.
What are you using as the start of World War III? So during World War I, nobody considered World War I a world war until we looked back at it. We used to call it the Great War. So no one is ever going, there's never going to be it's official, this is a world war. A world war is up to you to decide when it's a world war. The United States and Israel and the UK and France are all bombing Iran, okay? Yemen is fighting back on Iran's side. Pakistan said that they would nuke Israel if Israel nukes Iran. India is on the side of the United States. Russia said they would back Iran, and China said they would back Iran. That is 10 nations, many of which are nuclear capable. What do you want? Do you want CNN to have a breaking news? World War III is official. Like, that's never going to happen.
Got stuck.
What event do you consider started it? I would say when Benjamin Netanyahu, I think on day 4 of this, confirmed that American pilots were in the air shooting down Iranian missiles, and then confirmed that the Iranians have shot down F-35s, but the ones with Israeli pilots in it. I don't know if you guys know this. The Iranians have shot down F-35s. The pilots ejected, and the Iranians have taken them hostage. So there's already prisoners of war, bro. There's already prisoners of war. But as soon as I found out that the Americans were shooting down Iranian drones, I understood that this is a world war.
The people who died in former places like this, they got stuck.
You want to make sure there's no one trapped.
No.
Was there anyone stuck in there now?
No. Up to now, no.
You just told me here you revived this part of the city. You've been mayor for 20 years. How do you feel personally when you see it being your work? Your work for the...
What do you think the best place to survive a nuclear winter would be? You just want to be in the blast zone, bro. Just pray to God you're in the fucking blast zone.
City, this happening.
Look, I don't like wars. I've been personally in 10 wars. This is not the name of the game. The name of the game is peace. And we have a lot to help others. And we should do it, you know, the most important...
See, here's my thing. I don't know what this guy's beliefs are on Zionism, but this guy, so far, seems like a decent guy. You know, I don't want civilians to be bombed to smithereens because of the actions of a genocidal maniac named Benjamin Netanyahu. But these fucking people, they are being used as human shields by Israel. They don't even understand that their own government considers them fodder.
Universities are situated in Haifa.
It is a mixed city.
Iran is too aggressive of a country to have a sun bomb, in my opinion, so we got to keep them from having one. James, answer this. What nation should have nuclear weapons? And why?
And it gets on, for the most part.
It's the only mixed city in the world which is exercising for more than 100 years full peace between Jews and Arabs.
So let me ask you this question then. There's diplomacy going on in Geneva right now with the Iranian foreign minister, some European foreign ministers. President Trump right now has said he's going to wait 2 weeks before he makes a decision what to happen next. What are you hoping
None, to be honest, but we have them all already. Well, now here's my second thing. You said that Iran is too aggressive of a nation to have nuclear weapons. Do you believe that the United States of America is less aggressive than Iran? Genuine question. Who do you think has spilt more blood? The United States of America or the Islamic Republic of Iran? Genuine question. Who do you think has spilt more blood? Star, say something like that again. You're getting permanently banned. Put Star in the corner for half an hour for saying anti-Semitic shit. Put her in the corner for half an hour so she can learn her fucking lesson. Don't ban her, but just throw her in the corner. We have, but for better reasons. What? Walk me through your fucking mindset right now. Walk me through your mindset right now, bro. What? The fucking what is better reasons? I'm confused. I don't even know what the fuck he means. I don't even think he knows what he means. Australia is already being pulled into the war. Australia is preparing to send their gear.
From these different diplomatic pieces.
Peace, that the peace treaty will come out of it.
And President Trump waiting 2 weeks to make a decision. What do you think about that?
It's too much.
Yep.
Why?
This is what I said the other day. The Israelis do not have 2 weeks. Benjamin Netanyahu will not wait 2 weeks.
Because we have no time. You see what's going in the middle time.
There's more destruction.
They have to sit now and negotiate and design a treaty.
Yes, if the United States joins the war, so does Canada.
It's not a big deal, and do it.
In your understanding, President Trump's analysis of what's going on is giving time for diplomacy, it appears. Are you happy with what you hear from him? Because one day it seems to be he's leaning towards the military action, another day seems to be leaning towards diplomacy. What's your sense?
A fixed answer I
I'd love
can't
to have
get
a real
from
conversation
Trump.
with you, Chris, so I could better explain myself. I don't even know how to have guests on the show. But listen, James, you got to understand something. You only believe that the United States is the good guy because you are from the United States. We killed so many fucking people in Korea, so many people in Vietnam, so many people in Laos, so many people in Cambodia, so many people in Kuwait, so many people in Iraq, so many people in Afghanistan, so many people in Syria. Not to even mention South America, the entire continent of South America. So many people in Venezuela, so many people in Argentina, so many people in Cuba, so many people in Nicaragua. Brother, we have spilled the blood of hundreds of millions of people. Hundreds of millions of people have died at the behest of the United States of America. And you've got the audacity to say that Iran is too aggressive to have a nuclear weapon. First of all, nobody should have a nuclear weapon. But if your standard of aggression stops at Iran, but you're okay with the United States or Israel having nuclear weapons, then you don't have logic. You're not thinking logically. You are thinking, we can have it because I'm one of us. That's why it's okay. That's all you're saying.
Trump. And this bothers me.
Why?
Because I like stability. And I think that he has to give me this stability.
Your leaders here don't want to push him one way or another in the country.
Talk to them. Why you interview me?
When you walk away from this now, what's next? How do you keep the city working and functioning? Because I hear from your teams you have a very clear directive. In 24 hours, I want the city.
Scroll up, see what James just said. What did he say? Think about the Brits, though, too. They did also. Yeah, they did. Yeah, the Brits spilled a fuck. Yeah, the Brits are definitely more aggressive than Iran. Yeah. The Brits have absolutely spilled more blood than Iran. Exponentially more blood.
Looking normal again.
Yeah.
Well, why is that?
Because you can't live in the middle of a war. People don't like it. People are worried about their kids.
I think James might not even know some of the things we know. Hold on, James. Does Iran have a nuclear weapon, James?
The income. No income in war.
I've seen photographs where there's been a bomb one night and repairs by the morning. It's about resilience. Speak to me about the resilience.
Yeah.
Not yet. Okay, so James, hold on. Do you find it concerning that Israel will not disclose whether or not they have nuclear weapons? Do you find that concerning, that Israel has adopted a policy of nuclear ambiguity, and they might have somewhere between 40 and 400 nuclear weapons, and we just don't know? You find that concerning? There's no way Israel doesn't have nuclear weapons. No shit. No shit. A little bit, yeah. So you have a problem with the nation that you know doesn't have nukes, but you don't have a problem with the nation that your tax dollars fund. And yet we don't get to know whether or not they have nukes. Not to mention the fact that Israel is the only foreign nation on planet Earth that is allowed to lobby in the United States without classifying themselves as a foreign lobby. Do you have any problem with the fact that Israel is the only nation on planet Earth allowed to lobby American politicians without labeling themselves as a foreign lobby? You have any problem with that? Scroll up and read what I said. You said a little bit, yeah, but I just asked you a second question. He answered? I don't see it. Oh. No, but what are we going to do about it, honestly? Stop paying Israel. Stop providing them with money. Stop giving them support. Tell them they're on their own. I also want to show you something real quick. You said Israel is... Wait, so real quick, James. You believe that Iran is close to having a nuclear weapon, right? Do you believe Iran is close to having a nuclear weapon, James? Yep. Oh, really? Because, check this out.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within...
This could be true, though. They just haven't made them one, or they have them. James, you might be the most propagandized person I've ever talked to. You just watched the same video we all just watched of them claiming that Iran was close to having a nuclear weapon since 1995. They've actually claimed it since 1979. I can't help you, James. You are too propagandized. You are too far gone. I'm done. I can't give you any more attention, brother. I've tried everything I possibly can. You're too far gone.
We're going to begin this morning in the Middle East, where Israel and Iran are trading new attacks as the conflict enters its second week. And the White House sets a new deadline for Iran. President Trump says he will decide within the next 2 weeks if he'll order U.S. forces to strike nuclear sites, leaving the door open for a diplomatic solution. For more on this, I want to bring in CBS News senior foreign correspondent Holly Williams, who's following the developments from Erbil, which is in Iraq, very, very close to the Iranian border. So, Holly, the president says he's going to make a decision on whether or not to strike on Iran within the next 2 weeks. But as you know, 2 weeks in terms of what we're talking about right now.
Hey, guys, somebody send me $1,000 real fast. Just like real quick. Somebody drop $1,000 cash in the chat for your boy. Just like real quick, $1,000.
This ongoing battle between the Israelis and the Iranians, that's a lifetime. So what do we know?
Congratulations, Squire. Graduated high school today. Congratulations. Welcome. It only goes downhill from here. I'm just kidding. You get 4 years of college, which means drugs, sex, gay sex. It means so many things, and you're going to have a blast. And then once that is over, it is all downhill from here. Congratulations. Thank you for the $1, Kittensworth.
About the plans for Israel to try and dismantle Iran's nuclear programs before this 2-week deadline.
They shot up yesterday on Juneteenth. My brother was outdoor dashing and witnessed a police shoot and kill a black man. They shot him 7 to 8 times. Yeah, well, police in the United States are taught to mag dump, meaning if a police officer has to pull the trigger on their firearm, they are taught to fire every single round in their magazine. That's not even a joke. Police in the United States are taught to mag dump. So if you are to be shot by a cop, they will shoot you between 7 and 12 times.
Good morning, Vlad. Well, the destruction of Iran's nuclear program was really the justification for Israel's attack and this war. And the Israelis do seem to have made some significant progress. They've targeted and killed several Iranian nuclear scientists. They've also hit several nuclear sites, including Natanz, where the Iranians had been enriching uranium up to 60%, a step away from the 90% that's typically used in nuclear weapons. But experts say that all of those airstrikes are essentially in vain unless the Israelis can also take out the Fordow nuclear site, where the Iranians have also been enriching uranium. They say if they don't, the risk is that the Iranians will be more motivated to get their hands on a nuclear weapon. Now, the problem with the Fordow site is that it's not just underground, it's actually
Thank you for the $5. I
inside
appreciate
a mountain.
that.
And the conventional wisdom is that the Israelis do not have the military capacity to take it out. Now, the US does, with huge bunker buster bombs and the B-2 bombers that can deliver them. So if the US does end up getting directly involved, that is what to watch for. However, it is also worth watching out for some kind of innovative, alternative solution from the Israelis. You may remember that back in September last year, Israeli special forces launched this kind of daring commando raid on a missile production facility in Syria. Now, doing something like that in Fordow would be much, much, much more difficult. But do the Israelis have something like that in mind? We don't know.
So let's talk about possible U.S. involvement, Holly. Iran has warned of retaliation if the U.S. does carry out any kind of strikes. But what would that look like? Are we talking about just attacks on our forces in the Middle East? Are we talking about perhaps terrorist attacks in major American cities? What sort of
false flag event incoming, false flag event incoming, false flag event incoming when there's some sort of bullshit Iranian attack on U.S. soil from embedded sleeper agents? Please, please, please don't fall for it. That is the CIA. That is the federal government. That is Trump's regime manufacturing consent. They will not have sleeper cells here. There are no Iranian sleeper cells in the United States of America. If there is any sort of Iranian attack on America, it is a fucking false flag.
I guess conditions is the president and the administration weighing?
Well, I think bottom line,
we don't $20 donation,
Iran
Dustin.
has already accused the U.S. of being complicit in Israel's attack and has threatened to retaliate against American bases. And there are a lot of U.S. military bases scattered across the Middle East, including here in Iraq, as well as around 40,000 American.
Please explain, why does Trump want to believe that Iran's building? Why does Trump want to believe that Iran's building nuclear weapons? What's his plan here? I know nothing about what's going on. Donald Trump is owned by Israel. Israel owns Donald Trump. Mossad has gathered blackmail on Donald Trump. They have videos and pictures of him fucking kids on Epstein's Island. So Trump cannot say no to Israel, or they will just publicize that information. So when Israel tells Trump, we need you to drop your bunker busters, he gets on his hands and knees and goes, yes, sir. And now that we're finding out that the bunker busters may not even be able to penetrate the facility, he's considering using a tactical nuke.
Troops. You may remember back in 2020.
You can't honestly believe Iran doesn't have nukes? Why haven't they used them? You think Iran has nuclear weapons? Why haven't they used them? Don't you believe that Iran is some bloodthirsty regime? Why haven't they used them? Why haven't we? We have. Twice.
The Iranians actually attacked a US base, or a base used by US forces here in Iraq, al-Assad, with ballistic missiles.
Why hasn't anybody? Because nuclear weapons are not useful. But don't you believe that Iran is a bloodthirsty regime that chants death to Israel and death to America and just wants to kill everybody? Isn't that what you believe, Dethrone? Isn't that what you believe, Dethrone? That they're this evil, evil empire, right? Is that not what you believe? They do chant it, but I didn't say that. So you believe that Iran is this evil government that just wants to kill every American and Israeli, and they've been trying to develop this nuclear weapon so that they could finally kill everybody. But you, dumb fuck, you go, oh, they must actually have it, but they're not using it? Meanwhile, Israel and the United States is bombing the ever-loving fuck out of Iran, and there's not a single nuclear explosion? Brother, are you mentally disabled? Are you? Are you? Are you mentally disabled, Dethrone? You just put words in my mouth. No, I know how you think, bro. You are not unique. You are one of fucking 10 million people who watch Fox News and spoon feed the propaganda into your fucking mouth. Again, let me show you this. Wait. Let's bring up the same video we just showed the last guy. Hold on, Dethrone. Hold on, Dethrone. Wait. You're gonna like this. You're gonna like this. You're gonna like this. You're gonna like this. I promise. So, when did they get their nuclear weapon? Hold on.
Produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything.
So, real quick, brother, did Iran get their nuke in 1979, 1980, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, the year 2000, the year 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, 2021, 22, 23, 24, and now 25. Which one of those years did Iran get their nuclear weapon that they've been 2 weeks from getting? I'm just wondering, which one of those 40 years did they get their nuclear weapon? Could you answer that for me? I'd love to know. Dumb fuck. Hey, wait, hold on, before you run away, because I know you're gonna. Does Israel have nuclear weapons? I want to see just how little you know. Hold on, Dethrone. Does Israel have nuclear weapons? Dethrone, does Israel have nukes? For sure. You're sure about that, Dethrone? Hold on, let me ask you one more time. You have proof. You know for a fact that the Israelis have nuclear weapons? Unconfirmed. There it is. You see, so you have no problem with Israel having between 90 and 400 nuclear weapons ambiguously, not telling us whether they have them or not. Meanwhile, your tax dollars fund the entire nation, and they are the only nation on planet Earth that gets to have a fucking super PAC lobbying in the United States without registering as a foreign nation. You have no problem with this, Goy? No problem. Genuinely, no issues with this. Chris venting about the USA killing people is so funny considering his dad probably murdered so many Vietnamese people. What a fucking clown this fucking idiot is. Yeah, dude. And my father deeply regretted volunteering for Vietnam. That is part of the reason why I am the way that I am. I was raised by a man who fell for propaganda, volunteered to go on America's imperialist conquest, and then he fucking killed a whole bunch of people who he didn't have to kill, who were there, and they were the good guys, and we were the fucking bad guys. And my father taught me from the time I was a child that he was the bad guy in war. He was the villain. Yeah, that's why I'm the way I am. Because I had a really good dad. Bless you. Bless you, Beans. Bless you. Thank you for the gifted membership, Herbal Leaf. Appreciate that. You got me there, but don't put words in my mouth. I never said there's some bloodthirsty country. You don't know where I stand. Do you think Iran is a bloodthirsty country? Who cares what he said? He's a fucking murderer. So I'm just wondering, do you consider every single American soldier who has ever killed somebody a murderer? Is that what you... I'm just genuinely curious. Yes. Okay, so you don't see a difference between murder and killing. You think that all killing is murder? Is that what you think? Nothing? Nothing? Did your dad have to murder people? No, he killed people because he was in war. Do you hold on real quick? One real question, Dick's Insider. Do you know that you can be charged with murder in a war zone? Are you aware of that? Like you could be at war and you can kill people, totally fine, but then you kill somebody else and that's considered murder. Oh, sorry, not dethrone. I meant Dick's Insider. But you do understand you can be charged with murder while at war, right? Because every other foreign lobby in the United States has to register as a foreign lobby because they are advocating for the best interests of a foreign nation. So if somebody is receiving money from that foreign lobby, they have to disclose the information, right? So that the public knows they could potentially be bought out by a foreign nation. Just because you didn't get caught in charge doesn't mean you didn't fucking murder fucktard. Ooh, someone's triggered. So I'm going to ask you the question again nice and slow because your brain operates on a different wavelength. Do you know that you can be charged with murder in a war zone? Do you know that? I asked real slow for you. Are you aware of that? No shit. Okay, so hold on. Earlier you said that you believe there's no difference between killing and murder. So now you're saying that there is a difference between killing and murder. Do you even know what your own beliefs are? Do you even know what your own beliefs are? I don't think you do. I just confirmed that your dad killed innocent kids but didn't get caught. So you're saying that my dad's serving in Vietnam. Just because he served in Vietnam, that means he killed innocent kids? Copy that, brother. Copy that. He may have... Oh, so now it's may have, Dixon. Oh, now it's may have. Notice how your entire argument is slowly collapsing upon itself. Hold on, real quick. Dixon Insider, do you support... Are you American? Are you American?
Amy, there are folks who are awaiting orders, and even people we know, reporting tells us that, but also anyone that has military folks in their life and their families. There are many people that I know personally, folks that I've spoken with today, whose family members have received orders to be and are shipping out, not just to be ready, but to go, not knowing what is going to happen. And so it should be incumbent upon the...
Probably an angry 12-year-old. No, it's clearly a child. I'm aware that it's a child, but...
Commander-in-Chief to speak to the country, but also to the servicemen and women who would be potentially putting their lives on the line for this war.
Well, absolutely. And we have reportedly 3 aircraft carriers in the region right now. But something that we're not talking about enough here is Article 1 of the Constitution of the United States of America, which basically says that Congress is supposed to declare war. Congress is supposed to authorize the use of military force in an offensive manner. We need to get back to that. You know, when I went to Iraq and Afghanistan, at least we had Congress authorizing the use of force in those 2 wars. Now, we bombed the Houthis earlier this year, and the only debate that happened over a signal chat between, I think, J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth, and that was it. We've got to get back to the Constitution because the American people need to make a decision here. The American people need to be consulted, and there needs to be a debate. This is war.
No, the American people don't get a say. Donald Trump is a king. He's not a president. You don't live in a democracy. You live in a fascist, authoritarian dictatorship. Bitch, what are you talking about pretending like the American people have a say in this? We don't get a say in anything.
Mess around with this.
There is, in fact, debate, Congressman Dent. It's just not happening among the American people or in Congress. It's happening among MAGA loyalists over what, in fact, is their foreign policy. Is the president listening to Mark Levin, or is he listening to Stephen Bannon? Given that there is already that fissure, do you see congressional Republicans stepping up and asserting what we just heard from Lieutenant Colonel McGrath?
Yes, I'm a socialist.
Well, I do think congressional Republicans will have to speak up. It's imperative that, as Rick said, that the President of the United States makes a case to the American people about why there should or should not be a military intervention with Iran. I think President Trump has got himself in a real pickle here. On the one hand, he's been, complaining for years about Bush, Cheney, forever wars. On the other hand, he was critical of the Obama-Biden diplomatic initiatives with Iran that resulted in the Iran nuclear agreement, which he walked away from. He's looking for a third way. He doesn't know which way to go.
Did he pause that? Yeah, I guess Trump just lost the bag in terms of invading Mexico. I mean, maybe he'll do that after he nukes Iran. I don't fucking know.
Also has a problem too. This conversation should not be out in the public. He is musing publicly. He's talking about unconditional surrender of Iran when we're not at war with Iran. Now, the unconditional surrender to me sounds like regime change. Now, I don't know that that's the policy of the United States. We'd all love to see the Iranian regime collapse or be replaced by something else. We'd like to see it happen organically. So what is he advocating? And Bibi Netanyahu is very persistent, but he wants to take out the nuclear program and change the regime. You've got Khamenei, who is very resistant. Both countries see each other as existential threats to one another. This is a real mess. And Republicans right now are not really engaging in this conversation. But I'll say this about Bannon and Gabbard and Carlson. They're right about one thing. Iran has a funny way of dominating American presidencies. Look at Jimmy Carter with the hostages, Ronald Reagan, Iran-Contra, George W. Bush had Iran meddling in Iraq that prolonged or protracted the war there. We can go on.
They're not Christians. You cannot support Donald Trump and be a Christian. You have to choose. I mean that wholeheartedly. Supporting Donald Trump is antithetical to Christian values. He's a warmonger. He is a rapist. He's racist. He's a billionaire. You cannot seriously call yourself a Christian and be a fan of Donald J. Trump.
On and on about Joe Biden. The Iranians were the ones who helped foment the Hamas attack against Israel that dominated a good chunk of the Biden presidency later on. So this is a big decision, and this will dominate his presidency. And by the way, Trump's base is going to do whatever. They're going to support Trump. I believe that. The problem for Trump is going to be the broader electorate, who may have a more nuanced view than his base will.
I'm going to start asking people if they're Christian or if they're a Trump supporter. I think that would be a great way to trigger them. Was your dad in the 12th Field Regiment, 71? I have no idea what he was in. Actually, I have it. I have his patch. I have a picture of his patch somewhere. Hold on. Let me see. That's the patch. That, I think, you can find out what regiment he was in from that patch. I have no idea which one it is, though. That might be the 7th Infantry Regiment. I think that's the 7th. I have no idea. Bro, my dad got demoted. Oh, my dad would be disgusted with the military today. Bro, my dad got demoted in the middle of a fight. In the middle of a firefight in the Valley of Quezon, I think. He said that they were in a dike, right? Where it's like the water's so high you got to hold your rifle up above your head. Water's like up to your waist. They're making their way through, and a dike has, it's like this, right? So there's cover on both sides, but the cover is just straight up like mud. It's not real cover, like a bullet can just go right through it. They're making their way through, and out of nowhere, some Viet Cong MG opens up fire, and it's like some sort of ambush. So they all try to take cover, and it's low, and they're all trying to take cover, but now the water's like up to their pecs, right? Up to their chest. And they had this new lieutenant that they called them butter bars, right? Because my dad said that their previous lieutenant had just stepped on a landmine a couple of days ago and was blown up and killed. So he was replaced by some like young West Point graduate. And they used to call them butter bars because they had the 2 lieutenant bars on their shoulders, but they had never seen combat. And that as they hit down below, the lieutenant, the butter bar, started saying to guys by their name, he'd go like, Sanchez, you get your head up and return fire. And then Sanchez would pop his head up and he'd get shot right in the fucking face and die. And then the lieutenant went to the next guy. He'd go, Ramirez, head up, fire back. Head up, dead. And he went down the line. He gets to my father and he says, Valenti, return fire. And my dad goes, no, sir. And the butter bar said, what do you mean, no, sir? I'll Article 15 your ass. You will be in for a demotion if you do not return fire. And my dad goes, fine with me, sir. And just kept his fucking head down. He got demoted from Spec 4 to Spec 1. And my dad said that they waited, and that once my dad refused to put his head up, everybody else refused to put their heads up. They waited. The fire stopped. Then they popped their heads up, returned fire, and turned that Viet Cong into Viet cheese, you know? So, fuck a butter bar. Fuck a butter bar. Thanks, Obi-Wan. I do what I can. No, Jay. No, you will not. There will be nuclear war before you die of old age.
News Nation's Alex Capriello joins us live. Alex, you visited one of these training sites. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I did, Elizabeth, and I had a chance to listen to the teachings from these gun instructors, which weren't exactly political in nature, although they did express a general sense of uneasiness about the world
Did I ever talk
us.
about SOG? No, he talked about the Green Berets. He said that one day there was a whole bunch of these guys that just looked so badass, so much more badass than everybody there. And he asked what they were. They said that was the LRP team, the Long Range Reconnaissance Patrol. And he asked, he was like, damn, those guys look badass. And there was like 8 of them. And then the guy was talking to said, yeah, there were 30 of them this morning.
It's part of the reason why we're seeing Americans take matters into their own hands, preparing both guns and their bodies for battle.
Justin wants to know why you think Trump is racist. There's a litany of I mean, when Trump was a businessman, he literally segregated his hotels. Trump also tried to get the death penalty for the Central Park 5, these 5 black kids who were completely innocent, and they were accused of killing this white woman. They didn't even touch her. They had nothing to do with it. Trump argued that they should get the death penalty. It was a big reason for them getting thrown in prison. Donald Trump said he wants to ban all Muslims. Donald Trump said that all Mexicans are rapists and murderers. Look at my African American. Yeah, I don't know. There's just never ends.
They find themselves in a dogfight.
They're not enlisted, though they dress ready for war.
They're
They don't
LARPing.
have military training, though they can reliably hit targets 3 football fields away. What they do have is fear of violent crime, civil unrest, even foreign invasion. And here, deep in the sticks of Central Florida, these everyday Americans gather with guns in hand, training for the day they will need to keep themselves safe by any means necessary.
In your opinion, the world is more safe when we know how to use guns?
Oh, 100%. Air Force veteran Eric Rocher leads the shooters in these military-style combat trainings. When Russia invaded Ukraine and civilians were forced to take up arms, Rocher decided he didn't want to see Americans succumb to the same fate.
They were trying to learn how to shoot literally days before the Russians invaded.
Don't worry, Star.
So
That's why I put you in the corner. I didn't ban you. It's not about that not being allowed, Star. You should not refer to Jewish people as a box of juice. That is Nazi shit, dog. And we're not even talking about Jews. We're talking about Israel, the Israeli government. For your own sake, bro, don't do that. It's not about not being allowed. It's about that is straight up Nazi shit. But I understand it was a mistake. Just don't fucking learn from this, okay? Learn from this.
They were almost like helpless. And I saw it, I was like, in America, we shouldn't have that problem.
As an Air Force tactical specialist, he knows techniques, disciplines, and standards that most civilians don't.
This should be information that every citizen should know about because it creates a better shooter, a safer shooter, a more defendable country.
More than 90% of the men and women who
It's
come
not
to
like
the
calling
Maryland
a German a
Hatchet
kraut.
Open
I call Germans krauts all the time. It is nothing like calling a German a kraut.
aren't currently serving in the military, veterans, or members of law enforcement. They're actually everyday citizens, just like you and I.
Take Dan Pham, for example. He's a civil engineer that builds robots. Brandon Jordan, he's a YouTube content creator. And Angela Clow is an exercise physiologist.
I'm this very loving, caring girl, but I can be fierce.
Oh, my bad, Star.
Every single one said they want to be prepared for any threat, and they expressed deep concern about our country and our world.
Riots, elections, foreign wars, people realizing that their safety is their own personal responsibility. No one's coming to save them, so they're going to have to be able to defend themselves and take matters into their own hands if they need to.
From the outside looking in, it looks like they're building a militia, but they insist they're not. Instead, they're among a growing cohort of prepared citizens, everyday folks worried about a near future where gun smoke fills the air. They just want to make sure it's coming from their guns.
I think that a lot more people are kind of feeling like something is coming globally. And so because of that, there is a sense of urgency to be able to train, to get their family equipped with training.
For the first time in more than 30 years, recent polling shows more Americans have guns in their homes than not. 1 in 5 gun owners now own AR-15 style semi-automatic rifles, with the majority saying they bought it for self-defense. And overall, more than 26 million Americans purchased their first gun in the last 5 years, with some of the greatest surges coming from African Americans, women, and liberal voters. That's more than the entire population of Florida.
It's not cops, it's not veterans, it's not current military, it's teachers, it's software engineers, it's dentists, it's lawyers, it's doctors. Why would a dentist need to know how to shoot a rifle 300 yards?
I have a responsibility to protect myself and my family. You know, if I need help, if I have to call law enforcement, it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and usually that's way too long. So I need to be able to perform on command when the time comes, if the time comes, God forbid.
These civilians hope they never have to put their training to use.
Bullshit.
But if any of their worst case scenarios materialize, they won't be going down without a fight.
The more that people kind of see what we're doing, they understand our purpose is the brotherhood, and in doing something together that we enjoy, that's also a useful tool in the event of a bad scenario. That's what we're doing. We're not doomsday preppers out here.
I know you didn't. You didn't. Beyond just learning advanced weapon techniques, there is a real sense of camaraderie among the men and women at Open Gym.
Yeah, if you scratch a liberal, a fascist bleeds. It's 100% fucking true.
After all, they have been doing it for several years, and so many of them tell me they first came for the target practice. They now stay for the people. Elizabeth.
All right, Alex Capriella, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download.
Suck my dick, Fredo. Fuck you. Back to the fucking meatball lab. Anyway. I'm going to call it a quit here, guys, because I got to go to the gym. Excuse me. Whew. All right, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it helps me immensely. If you do want to support the channel financially, a couple of ways that you could do it is by becoming a member, becoming a patron, donating, using that thanks button, buying merch, and using the 40% off discount code. Where do you go to the gym? Subways? Subways? Do you mean Subway? Like the sandwich shop? Also, who the fuck eats at Subway? Jersey Mike's all day, bro. Jersey Mike's all day. I want Mike to fuck my sandwich. All right? I want Mike to fuck my shit. You understand? Chris, I live in the Netherlands. Do I have a chance? No, bro. I'm nuking the Netherlands. Tomorrow. Me. I'm doing it. Of course you're fine. It's the Netherlands, bro. People forget you even exist. Buddy, stop fear-mongering. There is not going to be World War III. World War III already began. War with Iran would just be repeat Iraq and Afghanistan. Are you saying that is a good thing? So stop acting like war with Iran when someone calls nuclear war. Donald Trump is currently considering nuking Iran. But hold on, wait, before I do go, Callie, do you think the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were good? Do you think we won those wars? Oh my God. Oh my God. She does. Oh God, she does. That's crazy. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother. Hell fucking yeah. Hell fucking yeah. Yeah, brother. Yeah. We just got to bomb Iran. Oh, super chat ignored. I don't see no super chat. Oh, Vivid. Seeing this video, what are your thoughts on the SRA? I don't even know what the SRA is, dog. I don't even know what the SRA is. No, I do not, and we did not win that war. I'm not a Trump cocksucker. Could have fooled me. Anyway, I'm out of here. To all my fans, thank you very much. To all my haters, thank you very much. To all the Trump cocksuckers. Thank you very much. All right, guys. Have a good one. GG. 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 GG, 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 GG,